Well, good evening, everybody, on this beautiful, cloudy Tuesday evening. This is Robert with Space Coast Rocket, and I'm here tonight with Randy from Affordable Solar Services. How you doing, Randy?
Great. How are you, Robert?
I, I can't complain. It wouldn't do any good, but
Who's
uh,
going to listen, right?
I'm here. And I wanted to bring Randy on tonight, talk about something that's important to people here in Florida, especially in Brevard County, talking about solar power. Solar power. If you look around your houses in your neighborhood, you're going to see those things on top of people's houses, and you might wonder how they got them, or what if you need them, or why you need them, or what they are. Some people don't even know what they are. And to be honest, in the recent past, some of the solar industry has gotten a bad rap, and people have a lot of questions about it. So I thought I'd bring on our local expert here, Randy, who's been doing this for quite a while, to help kind of answer some of those questions here for the community. And if you guys have any questions that are watching, feel free to throw them in the comments, and I'm sure Randy can get those questions answered for you. So, Randy, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself for us?
Hey, guys. My name is Randy Wickens. I'm a state certified solar contractor. I'm the owner of Affordable Solar Services. We're located right here in Palm Bay, right down off Kirby Circle. We've been doing this here for quite some time. We're not one of the big sales companies that comes, pestering you at dinner time at your door. In fact, we don't do any sort of reach out marketing at all. We let people come to us, people who are interested, people who need help, and then we come out and help.
Okay. All right. Talk to us a little bit about affordable solar services. Like, how'd you end up coming into this business?
So, here in Brevard, there's only a few real companies. And when I say real companies, I mean companies that hold an actual license, either a solar license or an electrical contractor license, who do solar. It seems like there's a billion of them, but you'll see the trucks riding around from Orlando. You'll see all the salesmen knocking on the doors. Most of those companies are just sales companies. They're not licensed.
Right.
There's very few of us real solar people here. And we are now dealing with an epidemic of people who fell victim to these door knockers, a lot of these big sales companies, and they don't have people to support them now. The majority of these
Right.
companies have gone out of business. We get call after call after call every single day saying, hey, I've got a problem and my original installer is gone. They're out of business. They won't call me back. They want to charge me $800 to drive out from Tampa. And we have to pick up the slack on a lot of that. So
Yeah.
that's really what a focus, a majority of our business is, helping these, what we call orphan owners right now, people who bought solar who no longer have a company to support them.
Do you know why that is? Like, why have so many of these companies kind of gone defunct and like abandoned their customer base?
Well, these big sales companies, they don't service their products. They don't have any intention of servicing them after they sell them. They want to sell as many as they can, get out of the area, and move on to another area. They 90% of them didn't install the systems themselves. They would sub it out to a licensed contractor like myself. Now, I never installed for these people, but there's plenty of them out there who did. Um,
Right.
when things started getting rough with the economy, interest rates started rising, and new sales went down, they couldn't afford to stay in business anymore. They just couldn't afford it. They didn't diversify. We do sales, we do service, we do removing of solar, remounting of solar, and people get new roofs. We do warranty work. We do thermal solar. We do solar pool heating, solar water heating, solar attic fans.
Oh,
So we
wow.
really diversify way past just new sales. And that's what's kept us going. These bigger companies couldn't stay in business.
And so I guess the big question is solar still worth it in Florida?
It absolutely is. I would say if you are a buyer who's looking at financing, I would say, hey, wait a little bit longer. Let the interest rates come back down. It'll make a little more sense when the interest rates are lower. The whole idea behind financing solar is to become what's called cash flow positive. Basically, you're taking on a solar payment that is considerably less than your electric bill. And that was easy to do. We were able to offer rates of 0%, 1%, 2%.
Right.
With what the rates are now, that's not so much reality. So I would say give it a little more time, see if we can get these rates back down to a more manageable level and then start investigating it. unless you're a cash buyer. I will tell you this: if you are someone who is lucky enough to have the disposable income right now to be able to stroke a check for a system, your rate of return is about 8 years, which is unheard of. So,
Gotcha. Okay. And with home values going up, it's just one more thing that adds to the value of the house too. With people looking to sell their houses right now as well. Um, One of the things I see a lot
absolutely.
of people complaining about are the sales tactics. Where you have these people just door knocking, showing up at strange hours and stuff. What should a homeowner look out for when someone knocks on their door selling solar?
So, if anybody's showing up at your door unannounced, unsolicited, don't open the door. Send them away. Just tell them to get up going. You'll call the police, whatever it may be.
Unless it's
90% of those people, unless it's the what?
the Girl Scouts cookies. I mean, I open the
Oh
door.
yeah, cookies. No, bring the cookies on. Bring those on. Absolutely, all day. I eat plenty of cookies. But these guys who come in on door sales, they are trained to be very, very aggressive and not take no for an answer. If you let them in the house, they are going to be there with you for hours until you literally just scream or threaten to throw them out or physically throw them out. One or the other. They only get paid if they get you to sign that contract. They will tell you anything that they think you want to hear. They will tell you any lie, any deceitful tactic they can use to get you to sign that contract. If you are interested in talking to a solar salesperson, really any door-to-door salesperson, um, ask them right up front for their license. Their license better be in their name. If they're saying, "Hey, I got a license, but it's this other company," send them away. Send them away. You want to see a license in their name. If they don't have that, get rid of them immediately.
Yeah. Have you? What's some of the horror stories, or what might be the biggest horror story that you've heard of someone maybe getting scammed or taken advantage of by some of these defunct companies?
I have heard more stuff than you wouldn't believe the stuff that I've seen and heard. One of the biggest problems I'm seeing currently are people who were getting new roofs and they had some of these larger companies come out and take their systems down and set them in the yard while they got the new roof. And then they went out of business literally while they were in the process of getting the new
Wow.
roof. Yeah. I mean, I'll give you an example. Right now, we have an animal rescue that rescues disabled animals. And
Uh-huh.
they had a system taken down while they were getting a new roof. The company's gone out of business and their system's been sitting in their yard for a year and a half. So we're actually stepping up. We're volunteering to put that back up at no cost to them because we really do care. We feel bad for them. We don't want them to take money away from the animals to do this. But
Right.
that is so common. I deal with that probably 3 times a week. I'm down at the building department transferring permits into my name, getting things done for homeowners because they don't know what to do. It's just it's like the Wild West that's been going on with solar out there. And you've had the small guys like myself and several other companies in the area, and we've been waving our arms, we've been yelling, we've been trying to educate people, saying, "Hey, get away from all of these scammers and fraudsters and liars." And we've gone to the cities. I'm not going to name each jurisdiction, but there's a lot of jurisdictions that have no interest or are completely unwilling to enforce contracting, go after these companies.
You're breaking up just a little bit, but I got most of it there. One of the things I was thinking about earlier, you know, when we partner with a company, with the Space Coast Rocket, one of our big focuses is on the community. We're always trying to figure out how that we can give back to the community and support the community. And just hearing that story about what you did for that shelter that needs the help is exactly why I wanted to partner with you in the first place, because you're putting the community before profits and before business. You're trying to help people, and that's one of the goals that we want to keep trying to push. And any business that we partner with, we want to push the same thing. So I appreciate that, and I'm sure that the community appreciates that too from you.
Thank you, Robert.
Yeah, absolutely. What can you explain, like for a dummy like me, like how does solar work? I mean, other than just seeing the panels on top of the house, I really don't know much about it. other than as long as the sun's up, it's producing energy. So how does solar work?
So I'll give you a dumbed down version, just
Okay.
so most people will get it. Basically, we're putting these panels on your roof. They're producing power and direct current, which is what batteries run on and so forth. We're converting that energy into alternating current, AC. That's coming down into your home. Your home is actively using that energy. So you are live feeding from your panels on your roof into your house. You're using that energy. Any excess energy is being sent back to FPL, assuming you don't have a battery. They are sending that out to other homeowners in the area, and they are crediting your account for that energy that you produced that you sent back to them. Now, at nighttime, when the sun's down, your solar's not producing, you're using FPL's power. So those credits, all that extra energy you sent them during the day, those credits are applied to your account. Those are offsetting the energy that you're using from them in the evening hours. So it's a give and take with FPL, with what's called net metering. They insert a bi-directional meter, so it measures what you're sending back, what they're sending in, and the idea is to offset you completely. But most people don't understand. You're actually using the energy that you're making. A lot of people think that energy is just sent back to FPL and you get credits. Only the extra that you don't use in your house is sent back to them.
Okay. So it's like the old school calculators, that have the little tiny solar thing on there. You're only using what's
yes. Yep.
Okay. And so I know a little bit about solar.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay. As far as like,
you still have one?
I still got one somewhere because it was funny when we were in high school. They used to always say, you got to learn to do this by hand. You won't always have a calculator on you. And yeah, we do. It's hard for me to tell that to my kids.
You make sure you always have.
Yeah. Let's see.
Smart.
Let's see. What should buyers know about, panel quality, warranties, service? I know one of the things that your company offers is like a no leak guarantee. And that's something that roofing companies have always had like a worry about solar, is because they're putting holes in the roof, so to speak. So how do you mitigate that? And what other things should customers know about the quality of the equipment?
Okay, so when you look at the equipment, there's two aspects to look at when you're looking at a solar system. One is the actual materials, the panels, the inverters, and one is the structural side, the installation, the labor, how it was done. Is it going to cause leaks? Is it structurally sound? Is it going to blow away with the first storm that comes around? So let's talk about materials real fast. Solar panels themselves actually have two different types of warranties on them. You have a product warranty that says the panels won't delaminate, the cells won't burn out, that sort of thing. Then you have a linear production guarantee. So as panels are used, they degrade a little bit. So what you want to look at is where they're guaranteed to be production value-wise in 20 or 25 years. Really top of the tier panels we use are called REC. We use the Alpha line. That was a 92% guarantee in 25 years. They only degrade by 1/4 of a point every single year, whereas most panels degrade by 1/2 to 3/4 of a point every single year. The average panel on the market you're going to see is going to have an annual degradation, a linear production guarantee between 80 to 85% in 20 to 25 years. Meaning you're going to lose about 15% of that power production over the first 20 to 25 years. So that's what you want to look at with the actual product. When it comes to the roof itself, we give a standard lifetime leak-free guarantee. We flash everything. We work with a lot of local roofers, a lot. As soon as we start putting holes in someone's roof, that roofer is going to say, "Hey, guess what? I'm out. I'm not warrantying where that guy just put 40 holes." So we step in, we pick it up for life. I cannot tell you how many different roofers we work with. Not all of them, of course. Every roofer has their own personal contractor that they enjoy working with. Some roofers are just completely anti-solar, which is their prerogative. But we work with a lot because we do high quality work. We make sure we flash everything, and then we pick up that warranty for as long as that homeowner owns that home.
Okay. And what happens if something breaks? You guys able to fix basically whatever happened, or what can break?
Yes. So we give a 25-year bumper to bumper guarantees, so to speak. We cover the labor, we cover the parts, or the manufacturer would cover the parts, because almost every component with the solar system comes with a 25-year warranty, but we don't charge them to go back out and do the repair or do the warranty call. The only thing that really generally isn't covered would be like a squirrel chewing on wires, a branch hitting a panel in a storm, an outside force, something like that. But once we put your system up and we commission it, the next 25 years should be carefree for you, unless there's some outside force that causes damage.
Right. Okay. So what's oh, go ahead.
No, please. Sorry.
Okay. I was going to ask you, like, what's one of the big myths about solar that just drives you crazy?
One of the biggest things is people think when they get solar, if the grid goes down, if a storm comes through, they're still going to have power. And that's not the case unless you have a battery backup, a storage device. I was explaining solar earlier. I was explaining to you solar, your energy gets sent back into the grid, the excess energy you're not using. If you're sending that energy back into the grid when the grid's down, there's a lineman working around the corner. You have no idea he's there. You just ruined his day. So by law, if you don't have a battery, and if you have a battery, you're going to have a smart switch, which is the equivalent of a transfer switch with a generator that allows you to keep producing power on this side, your load side, without sending any back in the line, back upstream. That in that case, it's legal. But if you just have a standard grid-tied system, when the grid goes down, you're going to be without power as well.
So regardless of if the sun's out or not, if the grid is down, you don't have power unless you have a battery, right?
That's correct.
Okay.
That's correct.
How long do those batteries last?
It's by law, and it's for safety.
Okay.
Most of them are guaranteed for 10 years. That's the standard minimum warranty. Some vary a little bit. A lot of them are buy, charge, and discharge, but usually it's about 10 years. Okay. And batteries have come a long, long way. Let me tell you, it wasn't just 10 years ago. If you were going to do a battery bank for your system, you'd have to cut out a big portion of your garage, do these deep cell batteries, line them all up in series. And now we went to cabinet style batteries that mount on your walls. They were big and bulky. Now they come down. They're slimmer. Like you've seen Tesla power walls. They're getting smaller and slimmer. Now we've gone to modular batteries that are about the footprint of about a filing cabinet, and we stack them up in your garage. And they usually come in around 5 kilowatt configurations. Usually we can stack up to 8, depending on the brand. But those are a much more cost-effective way of storing your energy as well. So we've moved along a long, long way in storage. Just like we have in panels too. A lot of people understand.
Go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
Well, I was only going to say, no worries. I was only going to say, for close to the same footprint of a panel from 8-10 years ago, we're getting double or more output from that same panel. So as we're moving, this is getting more efficient and it's getting cheaper. The rate of return now, like I was saying earlier, if you were to pay cash on a system, 7 to 8 years. Go back 10 years, you were looking at 14 to 15 years rate of return.
Wow. So
everything's really, really improved.
And it's probably just going to keep getting better and better, just like our computers and everything else. As time goes on, those panels get more efficient, and I guess the technology gets more efficient as well.
Absolutely.
What kind of feedback do you hear most from your customers after the installation? Like, are they shocked? Are they like just ecstatic? Like, what's the big change for them?
So when I sell a system, and by the way, I don't have salespeople. I've had salespeople in the past, and it just wasn't for me. One of the biggest things, I want to make sure that my system does what I promise people it's going to do. I don't want to make promises of grandeur that I can't deliver on. So generally people go into it, and I go through it several times, every part of the system, and they know what to expect. So maybe once in a blue moon, I'll have a client, who doesn't feel that things went right, but 99% of the time, because I spend so much time making sure that everything was explained properly, measured properly, usually people are very, very happy, very happy. One of the other things too, though, and just want to mention this real fast, but a lot of people sometimes, when we put solar in, they think, okay, I have unlimited power now. When we size a system, we base it on what you've been using generally over that last year. If you put a system in and then start running a hot tub or a pool heater or whatever else it may be, and your usage goes up, the system's only going to cover what it was designed to cover. So I have had instances where people put in solar and then decided I can run my pool heater, as much as I want. Or I had one family put a recording studio in the house, and all of a sudden they started getting $100 electric bills a year after the solar was in. And it was funny to say. I went and sat down. I said, "What's changed here?" And they said, "Nothing, nothing." I said, "Something has to have changed here." And finally, the wife got up and said, "Well, it could be this." And she walking down the hall, and her son was a TikToker, and he had put in a huge studio with lights and computers. There was a giant fan on the ceiling. And she said, "That has to keep going 24 hours a day to keep all the equipment cool." I said, "Well, you think that might be where the $100 is?" So it's just important to understand when you look at solar, when we design it, the expectations are for what you have been using. That's how we design it. We don't think ahead to, unless you say, "Hey, I'm getting an electric car," or "I'm doing this," or "I'm doing that," then we can design for that.
Or I'm gonna start Bitcoin mining or something like that, right?
Yeah, that uses a lot of power. A lot of power. Those are supercomputers.
When you get solar, just don't just set the AC to 62 and leave all the lights on. Now you got to still act like you've been living the way you've been living. All right.
Exactly. Just enjoy the savings.
Yeah. Okay. Let me see. Anything else we got here? You mentioned it a little bit about what you were doing with the shelter. Is there any other work you do with local nonprofits or veterans? I mean, we have a huge veteran population here in Brevard County, or with the schools or the cities.
So we're not actively involved with any sort of like a VA or anything like that, but not intentionally. In our industry doesn't so much directly isn't a service most of them can use. Right. We do obviously give military discounts. My son is actually active duty right now. He's just starting his career in the Air Force. So we've got nothing but love for our military. But we have not been. And honestly, the reason we got involved in this case with, do you mind if I say the name of the rescue?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Give them a shout out.
Yeah, could you hear me?
Okay, it's called CH Rescue, and they're actually located in Northwest Palm Bay. Okay, it's called CH Lives Rescue Matter. Excuse me, CH Lives Matter Rescue. And I'm, from what I understand, I'm no veterinarian, but CH is basically the animal form of cerebral palsy. So these animals have their disabilities, and these folks take care of them and treat them they're part of their family. So the owner had come on Facebook and said, "Hey, I have this system sitting in my yard for a year and a half. Can someone just come get it and haul it out of here?" And I said, "Well, why would you do that? Why wouldn't you put it back up?" And we talked, and she explained to me, what they are and where their money goes. And I once I went out and met the dogs, it was over. Yeah, it was over. I had to help them.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. That's awesome. Anything? I guess one of the things, if someone's watching right now and considering solar, what do you want them to know?
Research the companies that you're getting involved with. That is number one. Do your research. Do not call somebody out, get a slick salesman who shows you a PowerPoint, can't even tell you what brands he uses, what their warranties are, what their guarantees are, what their numbers are. If you call a local company here, one of the smaller guys like myself, or there's a couple others, you're going to meet with an actual contractor who knows every nut, bolt, wire, every volt, every amp. Engineers are my favorite clients because they know everything and they can sniff out BS. When engineers and I sit down and we're talking, they know that I'm shooting them straight. They know that I know what I'm talking about. I know they know what they're talking about, so we can have a very frank discussion. So I would honestly say anybody who's thinking about solar, research the company, make sure they have a license. Number one, check with the Better Business Bureau. Look at their Google reviews, obviously, and then call them out and judge the knowledge. If they send out a salesman with a slick PowerPoint, probably not the right company.
Yeah. Okay. So if they knock on your door and they look 20 years old, they probably don't know what they're talking about. Probably not.
Yeah, especially if they're knocking right next to that no solicitation sign.
Yeah.
Probably not people you want to be involved with.
Okay. Oh, I just remember one more thing I wanted to ask you. You brought up like pool, heating your pool as like an extra expense. One of the things that you guys do offer is the heating for the pools. How does that work?
Okay, so it's similar, but it's a little bit different. So that's the thermal side of solar. So
Okay.
photovoltaic or PV, we're just using a light to produce energy. With a thermal system, we're actually sending the water up into those panels, and it's heating from the sun, and it's coming back down into your pool or your water heater, depending on what type of device you have. But if you drive around, you see those giant black panels. A lot of people say, hey, those look like fabric. Almost everyone says those big fabric panels. They're actually a polypropylene plastic, but they look like black fabric up there. But those are actually sending pool water through those panels, coming back down into your pool. And they work about 9.5 to 10 months of the year. You wouldn't think so. In Florida, a lot of people think I'll swim every day. It's fine, especially people who've just moved here from up north. But let me tell you something. A year or two in here, your blood starts to thin, and you realize you can only comfortably swim about 4 to 5 months without some sort of heating help. And solar pool heating is a great option without spending a ton of money in electricity usage.
Yeah, electricity or gas. I know a lot of them use gas to heat those pools, which can rack up costs real quick.
Absolutely. The solar pool heater is a passive system. We literally install it in line with your pump. So when your pump's running during its normal circulation during the day, all we're doing is diverting the water, sending it up, bringing it back.
Well, Randy, thank you for taking that time tonight to come out here and educate the public on solar. I mean, we all see it, we're all familiar with it, but we I'll speak for myself, don't know much about it, if anything at all. So I appreciate you taking your time to educate us, let us know what to look out for, and talking a little bit about, your giving back to the community and the services you provide. For those that want to find out how to reach them, it's easy. You open any article on the Space Coast Rocket, his ad's going to pop up. His ad's going to pop up first before you can even read the article. He's there. He's easy to find, and
that probably doesn't make a few people happy.
Yeah,
hey, I really appreciate having me. And, if anybody does want to talk about solar, if you have solar and your company's out of business, we're here for you. We're certified with pretty much every manufacturer out there, so we won't void your warranty. We can pick up your warranty. We can take care of you. So feel free to reach out to us.
Well, thank you, Randy. If anybody else is watching this later, I know that not everybody watches the live. Leave a comment if you have a question, and I'm sure Randy will get back to you, or just reach out to him directly if you guys want to talk about solar or get some solar. Appreciate you guys. Lots of things going on. I'm trying to catch up on the rest of these stories that we've been working on. And if you send me a message and I don't get back to you immediately, don't feel bad. Send me another message, because I have CRS. I can't remember stuff. So feel free to reach back out, and we'll get whatever your issue is taken care of. In the meantime, everybody stay safe and have a great night.
Hey, this is Jerry with On Point Wildlife Removal. If you think you might have critters in your attic like squirrels, bats, rats, or raccoons, give us a call today. We'll come out, we'll take a look, we'll give you a free quote to get them out, to seal up your home, and clean up whatever mess they left behind. We're locally owned and operated, and we're fully licensed and insured.